Hello guys, it's Julie and welcome to my channel. It's kind of chill out here. I'm wearing my favorite sweater and I'm having coffee. And to add some razzle dazzle, I'm gonna turn on the fan. Oh, so comfy. Just kidding, it's so cold. For today's vlog, I'm gonna be doing a reaction video about the role of a journalism during the COVID-19. Okay, so last March 2020, the World Health Organization declared a global pandemic. I'm not gonna say COVID. I'm not gonna say COVID. Okay, it's COVID-19. You know, the respiratory disease that led to millions of deaths all over the world. And this pandemic is still ongoing. Leaders of different countries are left with trying to decide on how to deal with this. Given the information from the medical experts, how their people could cope up with the situation, and once these leaders decide on how to implement these advices from the medical experts, here comes the role of the journalists. Disseminate information, give answers, give meaning, or give proper context to the society. Journalists are described to have the responsibility to connect people to the resources they need to stay healthy in this kind of situation. And during this time of pandemic, we turn to journalists. They are one of our major sources of news when it comes to this crisis. They are an essential part of this country's response to the pandemic. People are thirsty for information that's reliable and verified. What we should do, when we should go out, where can we get those vaccines, how can we get it, how can we be safe, or are we safe now? While it was always understood that the public supported the free press or the mainstream media because of its ability to provide well-researched or correctly edited news or contents. Now, when it comes to their responsibilities, the challenge is that they have to make sure that their sources are also reliable.
Drink lemon and bicarbonate. Oh my
Salt
God.
water, chloroquine.
Hold your breath over 10 seconds to check if your lung is healthy.
If you keep sipping hot water, that washes it down to your stomach.
There has been a lot of claims about the coronavirus from different people, may it be from ordinary people or pseudo-doctors or even the government that says that COVID is just a little cold, that this can be treated by home remedies like ginger or lemon. And it's the journalist's job to verify these claims and fact check because, you know, some information can fool even the smartest ones. Now, the question is, can they still dip the pen in the wound? How can they balance emergency information with the public service information, with accidents or uncompromised investigations into the response of the government or the administrations concerned? When the COVID-19 struck and everyone has gone under quarantine, thousands or maybe even millions of employees worked from home. Some of the journalists were given the opportunity to work from home, but most of them, they have to head back to the studios or to the newsrooms or even out in the field. It's their duty. Despite the risks, there are a lot of stories they have to cover.
UNESCO has expressed concern about the safety of journalists during the COVID-19 outbreak. In a statement, it said, journalists' physical and psychological safety should come first.
I'm gonna be sharing a video about the life of a journalist during this time of pandemic.
The pandemic has changed our lives in so many ways. For me, the biggest change is not being able to travel anymore. At least I still go to work, which gives me a sense of normalcy.
How is your business being affected?
Bad. Almost 3 weeks I didn't work.
Do you have a family?
Yes, I do.
Are you worried about getting sick because you have to travel with strangers all
Well,
the time?
exactly. Well, that's one of the reasons I wasn't working because I didn't want to take no chance. But like I'm home so bored all the time with my kids, and I was like, oh my God, you know, money running out. So I said, let me just come out today.
So today is your first day?
After 4 weeks, yeah.
Wow.
My new routine involves a lot of cleaning and disinfecting, and this is essentially how I start my day at work. I've arrived in my office and luckily found some Turkish tea in the kitchen. All set to get started. Working as a journalist in the epicenter of a global pandemic is an interesting experience. There's a new It's especially tough as I also live through it just like anyone else, rather than observing and reporting from outside.
So, U.S. has now recorded the highest daily death rate, so that has exceeded China.
But the work I do is also dominated by the coronavirus. And the only news we are reporting these days is how countries around the world are dealing with their own outbreaks. Kimini, how do you feel about being a journalist during a pandemic?
Well, this is a story that has impacted us as journalists too, and it's changed the way we work as well as the global population. So while many people are able to do their jobs remotely from home, a lot of our correspondents have set up their in-home studios. We're essential staff, so we continue to work here in the studio while trying to social distance. It's something that affects our international audience. This is a story that every single person that watches our channel identifies with, and they're watching our channel for updates, and they're trying to learn how to stay safe, what the conditions are like in their communities. So in many ways, I don't feel that there has ever been a more important time to be a journalist.
After a long day at work, I'm finally back in my apartment, but I no longer need to wear a mask. We are all going through difficult times all across the world. It's these times where we need a little more support and guidance, and that's what family and friends are for.
I would also like to emphasize that this is the first global pandemic with the strength of the social media behind it. That's why messages are flying fast everywhere. You know, the information are spreading fast and furious. And it's kind of an advantage that people all over the world, wherever you are, as long as you are connected to the internet, you can access this information. However, this could be a disadvantage because the moment that an individual perceives that information incorrectly and shares it to one or another, name it, scams, fake news, false rumor, misconception, misunderstanding. Why can't people fact check first? That's why to other people, the journalists are the least trusted sources.
We're not just fighting an epidemic, we're fighting an infodemic. Fake news spreads faster and more easily than this virus, and is just as dangerous.
There has been a number of cases wherein journalists are threatened with imprisonment for spreading fake news or false information about the virus. There has been an article wherein Facebook, Google, and Twitter are trying to get rid of this misinformation. But you know, people are kind of faster when it comes to spreading rumors. That's why they're kind of outpacing the efforts of Google or Facebook or Twitter. Some countries are creating their platforms to fight misinformation. But here in the Philippines, there has been a proposal of a collaborative fact-checking editorial team, which includes journalists or experts or even the citizens. Actually, this is a good way of reconnecting with the society in this period of health crisis. A world without news will make people more anxious. Now more than ever, when little hope is found and questions are left unanswered, we need these journalists. They provide us reliable source of information that we need. They are committed on being a watchdog for the public, and they fulfill their roles just as the public expects them to. They also give us good information. And always remember, good information will prevent you and your family from getting sick or even save your life. So that's it for today's video. I hope you learned something. Stay safe and stay hydrated. Bye-bye!